Welcome to the Smarchitect shortcast. I am your host, Arvind Murali. Today, I am with a very special guest, the one and only Ravit Jain. He is the founder and host of the Ravit Show, community builder, Gartner ambassador, advisor, and someone I trust and rely on to look at the latest and greatest trends. Ravit, welcome to the show.
It's such a pleasure to have, I'm honored, first of all, Arvind, that you're doing this and, love your podcast, love what you do in the space. Thanks for the kind introduction. And you're the real leader in the space who's doing such interesting and amazing work in the data world. So thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting.
Thank you, Ravit. Hey, first of all, I have to ask you this. How does it feel to get interviewed instead of being the interviewer?
That's so true. Like, I've always been on the other side interviewing and asking people difficult questions in those CEO, CDOs, head of India, head of products. And today it seems like I'm on the hot chair, and being interviewed by you is definitely a pleasure because I'm hoping you won't ask me those difficult questions, but let's see.
I will try. Hey, maybe just a quick introduction, Ravit. You wanna go around?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So I'm Ravit Jain, like you said, the founder and host of the Ravit Show. I come from background which is finance. I've done my investment banking. I've done my MBA in finance. But then, to be honest, years back when I realized that even just getting out of my PG, I was like, okay, balance sheets, profit and loss statements are fantastic, but I felt, I was working with a market research company, and we used to research and forecast markets there about any product. It could be a mobile phone, it could be about, say, a disease which is glioblastoma, and actually talk about and create reports and bring in those primary and secondary data together to actually talk about the market forecast. And that forecast could be, say, if we do a forecast for the next 2 years or next 10 years, we used to actually do that, and I used to actually take care of the data that we were bringing in. And that's one point where I realized that data plays such an important role in this space. That got me very intrigued to get into the space. I got into the space. I did various I've worked at various places. I've worked with a publisher. I've worked closely with the data science AI authors in this space, and that's when, to be honest, I realized there's so much there for the community to learn, and there's such a huge community that's always happy to be educated, even if it's a CEO who has like 20 years of experience. Like we always say, learning never stops, and if you're learning, you're growing. And that's what close to 4.5 years, 5 years back, we kind of came up with an idea to start a media company, which is the Ravit Show. And today we have built almost a community of 500,000 big data AI professionals who follow us. But not only just that, from day one, whenever we brought in any leaders for interviews and other stuff, we always made sure where we are not selling anything to our community, rather we are educating them, because that kind of keeps us going in a direction which helps them to grow and we grow, and obviously the speakers who come on board. But yeah, we've done that in last 4.5 years, and I still do a lot of advisory boards. I'm on various, like sitting on their boards for advisory work, GTMs, and helping them with their strategy. But yeah, it's something that I do. I spend a lot of time. I love meeting people, and always love chatting with people like you. Like just before our show up for our audience, me and Arvind have spoken like 30 minutes already, because we have so much to catch up always. But that's who I am, and always love to connect with like-minded professionals and building community.
I will have to tell you this, Ravit. Every morning when I wake up and when I go to LinkedIn, I see a brand new or a new point of view or an architecture that shows up in your channel. And I'm absolutely delighted to see that every day, right? And to be honest with you, I use that a lot for my own learning as well, right? So thank you for putting that. I don't know how you come up with a new one every day or every other day. It's just phenomenal. Like, LLMs, big data, streaming, analytics. You just have a variety of architectures, and being a technical guy myself, I absolutely love to see that. So thank you. Thank you for really putting the hard work,
It's an honor. And to be honest, I won't take all the credit. It's my wife as well who helps me. She's the co-founder of the Ravit Show, and she has been, at least the people who are listening to me, who they know who the real boss is, and she does the real work of keeping me sane, but at the same time helping me with a lot of content. So yeah, and glad that you said that. Thank you very much, because it kind of keeps us motivated to run in the same direction and help community with the new and the trending things that are happening and are real, as compared to something which is very much not that matured or a buzzword. But yeah,
100%.
we're trying our best. So thank you.
Life is happy when wife is happy. All right, so
True.
that's my motto. Hey, so let's talk about your world right now. You've had the privilege of meeting many brightest minds in the industry. So maybe share one or two experiences that has changed your perspective, right? In the last year, LLM has been very significantly growing, the whole Gen AI space. I'm pretty sure something has to stick to your mind in all the smart people you've met. So please share a couple of those instances that you've come across with.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of when like almost 2 years back, when this started, when say OpenAI kind of came up with ChatGPT, and there was so much talking around and so much learning that was happening, and we were mind blown with where you were actually chatting with ChatGPT and you're kind of getting those answers real time. Things that the search engine has changed altogether in the last 2 years, where a lot of people, a lot of enterprise leaders that I talk to, they're like, we ask ChatGPT, we will ask Perplexity about it, or we'll ask some other tool about what we want to find, and we are getting accurate answers. But does it happen that is it 100% accurate? No, we all know that. How do we get to that level is something what everyone's figuring out, even the leaders. With if I talk about the enterprise side, obviously all the bosses and the business leaders sitting out there, they definitely are going back to their team in the last say 1.5 years. Say 2022 and 2023 was the year where everyone wanted some implementations in their product to make it strong. For the enterprise leaders, obviously they had a question, what can we do in AI to all their data, MVP and analytics? And I'm pretty sure, Arvind, you might get this question day in and out that, how do we implement this in our software? How do we make it better for our customer experience? How do we grow with others growing at the same pace, at least faster? So, in 2022-23, we were in a phase where we were learning. There was obviously LLMs. We learned about RAG, which came out in 2023, 2020, vector databases, which came out in 2022-23, and it became so hot in no time, where
it picked up so fast.
Fast, and companies are betting like anything. We've been seeing the AI ecosystem growing so massively, because this is just as good as the .com boom that we are seeing. To be honest, people have experienced this. At least I'm not a leader as compared to what you have seen in your past 30 years or 20 years of your career. So exactly this is something like a game changer. But again, the big question for a lot of enterprises, how do we do it to make sure that it is the real implementation, and we can prove it back to the business leaders that we've invested 5 million into it and we are seeing these results. Now the big question comes again is AI gonna replace jobs? For me, and from what I've heard, and at least the enterprise leaders that I've spoken to, it's not gonna replace. It's gonna make you smarter in a way where you'll be more productive about things. You need to keep that in mind, and that's what I listen from the enterprise leaders who are in the implementation phase. To be honest and very transparent, I've spoken to say more than 200 leaders in last 2 years. Who are the real decision makers who will actually buy a product. They kind of tell me that we are still figuring out. It's in a mature phase, like after 2023 we know how it operates, what things are happening. And in 2024, I would say enterprise AI is definitely a game changer. Actually, I was talking to a very good friend of mine this month itself at Chill Data Summit, and it was Arun Nandi, who has a big team at Unilever, and he was telling me about enterprise AI being such a huge part of 2024, because the big challenges for enterprises is the amount that they want to invest in the data stack that they already have. Now, if a company has already invested 50 million in their tech, is there a possibility that they can add another 20 million for AI to be a part of, their data stack? Or is there opportunity for the enterprise leaders to prove that, if we have this, AI implemented in our system, and the 20 million that we are planning to invest, it will actually help
reduce
us
the 50 million to some X dollars. So there is operational efficiency is what you're trying to get to, and that itself pays for the kind of spending you do with AI. Yeah, this is, if I can, Ravit, this is the same kind of thought process that I'm thinking, and I'm hearing every day from CXOs, right? And that's an interesting way you brought up. If you remember a decade ago, when people used to implement, say, big systems like CRM and ERP, they don't talk about operational efficiencies. Well, they do, not at that much. What they usually talk about is how can you make more money by implementing these systems, whether it's personalization, better supplier management. So they were always looking at, going in the forward market. The AI story is actually a little bit different, because now they're saying by putting this AI in here, you don't need these kind of processes. You can eliminate them by automation, right? And essentially that itself pays for itself. That's a great point, actually. You bring up a very good
and that becomes interesting, and a lot of challenges. Enterprise leaders are, to be honest, I've also seen enterprise leaders who are still figuring out that how do we get the budget. And I'm like, can you get AI, the AI that you are kind of planning to buy, can you get it to prove that you're already saving a cost? And in the long run, we might even go bigger on AI, where your data stack might look more as an AI stack. And that's why you might see a lot of AI engineers kind of coming out as a part of, the new job that's been, come out in the space, and how can they kind of make AI stack more efficient and more faster, smarter. So basically, those who are working in the space, they'll work on AI instead of data. So it's not going to replace, but it will make you better, smarter, faster. Every company will become way too faster in terms of what they were earlier with AI.
They're launching a new product, going to a new market. Your operations is going to be much faster with AI in the mix. I've got to ask you this. So, you meet a lot of AI leaders out here in the US. But, I read an article yesterday, and essentially it said India's, AI economy is going to be $5 trillion both in the startup and the corporate ecosystem. What are you seeing out there, Ravit? I mean, how is the Indian economy doing? It's doing very well, but what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, very good question, Arvind, because to be honest, in the last 5 years, and I'm not talking as, I'm not being biased here, but I've heard people who are sitting in the States or sitting in UK, Europe region as well, and they are heavily investing in India, is because there are innovations really happening here. I've been actually seeing companies who started like 2.5 years back, and it's not a game of valuation. I'll be very clear about it, because in India, to be honest, their valuation is like the bigger play. Like, people want to see the real results, and then they kind of value you, and it better as well, because somewhere how it operates in India as well. But at the same time, there have been companies in the last 2.5 years, 3 years that I see have actually become unicorn in no time. Now, was it that in India people understood AI really fast, or was it that they kind of got into a particular niche which kind of clicked, and that's why they have hit a particular bandwidth of, say, momentum, to be honest. To be honest, whatever it is, in the end, it's an AI company who has kind of got to that level. I can't obviously advocate for any company, but I can say if there's some real statistics to that, I think this is the bigger reason why it's going to boost. If you see, you talk about our prime ministers, or if you look at our government as well, everyone's kind of getting into that initiative where they want to make sure that AI first, there are conferences that are happening just for AI. There are startups who are building softwares who are kind of making sure that they are at the forefront. So in general as well, like in last 5 years, we've seen so many things changing. We've seen so many, I've spoken to so many leaders who have teams in India who are working on on various developments that are happening in Bangalore, Hyderabad. Like I've been to Hyderabad last year, and if you, Arvind, if you haven't been to Hyderabad in the last 3 to 4 years, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked looking at the market. There's like hub, which is with Sage T Hub, and it has almost say 400 startups in just one building. You can't even imagine, and everyone, like most of them are in tech. So you imagine
the mind power in that building is just astounding,
astounding. And the government is actually supporting. It's built by the government. So that's the type of initiatives that are happening in India. There's a big bet from investors outside, from Silicon Valley, from other, the New York funds, everything's kind of coming in, and there are real builders who are building stuff and proving that, okay, this product is a game changer and coming up. So that kind of fuels up the economy pretty fast and brings, India to a level where, you are international now in terms of, even going out and selling a product. It's no more a service industry, I would say, as compared to which you might have seen like almost 10 and 12 years back, where it used to be like service industry where, okay, India is where the service kind of comes in, but there are, with time, obviously things have massively changed and there are more builders. It could be COVID, which has also bring a massive change. There has been like initiatives like Make in India, which has boosted so much of the Indian economy, and Indian entrepreneurs are kind of coming on the forefront and doing so many more things. They are wanting to make in India, they're wanting to manufacture in India. There's obviously the healthcare system as well is massively changed. It has brought so many innovations. So I think those are the pretty good reasons to get Indian, maybe in the next 5 years, yes, maybe a good 5 trillion market.
See, the one thing that you said which stuck to me, right? It's not just made in India. Nowadays, it's also becoming make for India.
For India.
So I think that digital economy is catching up quite a bit in the Indian market, which is where all these startups. I've got a few friends everywhere. I haven't been to Hyderabad yet. That's my next stop pretty soon. Hey, if you're watching the Ravit Jain video and you're absolutely loving the conversation, well, fear not. There is a part 2 of this discussion, which I'll be releasing shortly. But in the meanwhile, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm looking forward for part 2 of this.